here we go. Okay, we're live on Facebook. So hello, everybody on Facebook, and welcome to this week's episode of Lead Up for Women. We're going to go ahead and get started here right away. As you can see, we have Mitzi Perdue with us and Cheryl Rausch, so hang around. You guys will get to know them a little bit better. And then, of course, as you know, we will be putting all their contact information here on Facebook for you to be able to reach out to them, get to know them a little bit better, because I think after today's conversation, you're going to want to reach out to both of them to see how you can connect with them a little bit deeper and definitely further in 2021, because our title today is the Year of the Woman. So I'm very excited about it. So let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. We are so thankful that you join us weekly on a regular basis and enjoy our podcast episodes that we have as we bring forward women, female leaders in the world that step into the spotlight and share their genius, their journey, their passions here on Lead Up for Women, because we believe that every woman has a voice and deserves to be heard. So thank you so much for joining us today. And we have some exciting news that I wanted to announce before I introduce our guests. And we have opened up and started doing since January 1st. We are now doing weekly Teaching Tuesdays instead of doing them on just the second and fourth Tuesday of the month. Now you have the opportunity to meet a new member every single Tuesday, learn from them, and the best part is it's free. All you have to do is register, and every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Arizona time, you can log on and learn and be in a webinar from a member that we bring forward. And we are already fully booked out through July. It's so exciting to have so many women in our community want to host, want to teach, and want to help other women succeed, because that's what we do here at Lead Up for Women. We are all about helping women succeed, feel supported, not competed or judged. You are safe here in our community to share your voice. So let's go ahead and get started as quick as we can with our two guests that we have today, because they are dying to share their voices with us. And first, I'd like to introduce Cheryl Rausch. Cheryl Rausch, I met about 2 months, maybe a month or two ago. Cheryl is a medium. She's a psychic medium and artist. You would not know that by just looking at Cheryl, but I am blown away at her abilities and the gifts that God has given her on this earth to be able to do what she does, and how thin the veil is around her and the conversation she can have. She single-handedly changed the path of myself and Lead Up for Women in 2021 after just one simple conversation with her, because I feel that sometimes we think we know what our path should be based on what we have in our minds. But when we listen to our hearts and we step back and take pause and allow downloads and the universe and spirit and God to speak to us, sometimes that looks like a very different picture. That is what our duty is here on earth, and what our reason for being here is. So Cheryl, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here, and it is good to see you again.
Yeah, it's such an honor. I love that you talk about connecting with the spirit to help individuals free themselves from their loss, right? So these are people that they've lost in their lives that you can have conversations with, the confusion, the emotional pain, and you help them find peace. But I believe you even go further than that, Cheryl, because like I said, there was so much more for me on what my journey was. And aren't we always wondering what that is? What is our purpose? I have women ask me all the time, how do I find out my purpose? Do you experience this, Cheryl, when you're having conversations with women or men about really understanding, why am I here?
Absolutely. I've had women, a few in particular, who came in looking to find out what their path in service is for the future. And like you say, you have one idea in your head, but spirit, that's what I call the universe, the greater, Spirit always has even greater path for you. The belief is profound. It never fails. And usually what comes through is even greater than what you imagined. Now, saying that, when I'm thinking of one beautiful person in particular. When she booked with me, I was having a conversation with her via phone, and she's like, okay, I just want to talk about my business. And I'm thinking, okay, I said, no problem, no problem. But Spirit, like the ever patient parent, always has bigger ideas than that. And they're like, yeah, you think you're driving, but let us take care of it. We've got it. So inevitably, her path of service, and I loved how she said it, her path of service was expanding based on her personal experiences. Yeah. So I think it's when we sit back and let Spirit drive that we finally are able to start moving forward.
Yeah.
Now, said that, I've had people who've also contacted me saying, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I need to be told what to do. What's next? And that I've found in that case, the analogy came up a few weeks ago with Spirit. When you see geese flying in formation or sandhill cranes, and they're always in the shape of a V. Well, I got that flashed image. We are the point. We are the point person. We lead the way. Spirit provides all the backup, all the protection, all the guidance, but they cannot tell you what to do. This is our path on earth. This is our lives. We have free will. So Spirit is never going to come up and go, okay, you need to make a job change, go over here. They'll only guide you when you start moving. So it's in one aspect freeing to know that you have your free will. And it's also terrifying because you have to make that first step. But it's just make those first steps, and then they'll start guiding you, putting you in the right direction. So that's what I also encounter too. Either they're steamrolling forward, they just want to know where they're going, or they're stuck and they're stopped. I've even had Spirit come forward because when I connect with people, I'll sometimes see their loved ones pushing them from behind. They're like, come on, let's get going, get on your path, move forward, which is kind of funny because they've just got your back. It's your best cheerleading squad ever.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. So we talked about terrifying, and I want to rewind in your life. And do you mind sharing with our audience a little bit about you? So when did you discover these gifts, your purpose? And I think you're still on the journey to discover your purpose with the gifts now that you have accepted, that you have and have that aren't hiding anymore, and you've brought them forward. So let's talk about that. What has that journey been like for you? Because the terrifying and the fear, women are scared to step into that role, even if they do know what it is that their genius is. They're still scared to let it be seen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It is terrifying to stand up and speak out. But I've been a psychic medium all my life. I've always been open, and it was very, very frightening. And fortunately, I was in a very active home. At my childhood home, there was always people coming and going, and not understanding, not knowing why. It was terrifying because inevitably they would wake me up at night. I'd have things dropped on my head. They'd poke me, talk to me, shake my bed because they're getting frustrated. I'm not listening to them. So I always thought it was my imagination. I'm just crazy. I have no idea what's going on. So over time, as I got into my 20s, 30s, 40s, the experiences were getting more and more in my face because I have a tendency to be stubborn. I know everything. I know what's going on. It's just those voices that are coming up in my head. That's just my ego and stuff talking. And it wasn't until just like less than 5 years ago where it got so intense where, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and there'd be somebody standing at the foot of my bed. And I'm thinking, this is not my imagination. I'm not crazy. And luckily for me, I did look around, and locally where I am in Lombard, Illinois, I did find a wonderful group. I eventually started connecting with other people who were like-minded, and they said, no, you're not crazy. So that was very freeing. It was really refreshing to come in and say, this is what happened to me today. And you don't get those pie eyes and they don't know what to say, because I didn't talk. I didn't tell anybody. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago I finally came out professionally and said that. And even with that, it was still difficult because people knew me as an artist or a friend or a family member. But to come out and go, by the way, this has been going on all my life, you know, that took some effort to do. But I am so glad I did, because everything makes sense. It's like all the puzzle pieces fell into place.
You made a very valid point there when you said, when I found the community of people locally that were like me, that understood what I was going through, you finally felt safe and that you could release all your talents and you weren't looked at like you were crazy. And
Right.
how important it is. That's my word of the year, is community. We have to find a buddy, an accountability partner, a community. We have to feel safe somewhere. And that's why AA works. That's why all of these other communities work for people, because when you feel supported and respected, then you can really bring your best self forward. So you're on a path now, Cheryl, where you're fiercely bringing your best self forward, and you are changing so many lives. And you're just the medium, right? You're the conduit through which they need to have advice or a conversation with someone else. I didn't even know I had someone to have a conversation with, right? I didn't even know when we had our session together that there was somebody to have a conversation with. Mine was just, okay, this is going to be really fun. I have no idea what we're doing, but I can't wait to see what comes out of it, with zero expectation. And it threw me for a loop, because I pray, and I pray a lot more now, but it was so meaningful to me. And there are people out there, and I think the main reason why someone may look at you for guidance is the loss of someone that maybe they just want to say one more thing, or see how that person feels, or they need some acceptance from that person, right? Or just to be able to free and let them go. Talk to us about an experience that you had working with someone that, I know you say you don't remember a lot. So when you're in the middle of doing the sessions, you don't, but what was a memorable moment for you working with somebody?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, and while I'd love to take credit for the beautiful messages that come through, it's not me. It's like 5% me, 95% spirit. So that's why I don't actually remember a lot of what I say, because it comes in through spirit and just right out. The memorable moments, I have so many, and they stick out. But also, I'm still, like you say, I'm on my path, because I think I'm going to drive and I'm going to like say how this reading is going to go. And they inevitably, I'm pushed to the side. They're like, no, we get it. We know. And there's like, it was just recently I was in communication with a client's mother, and we're talking back and forth. And she really couldn't believe that. And she was, for whatever reason, the client was feeling really guilty, feeling like she didn't do enough. But the mother kept coming forward, saying these things. I remember you patting my hand. I remember you. I'm here. I'm here. And then all of a sudden, out of my mouth, I said, I love you too. And she was caught by surprise. I said, did you just say in your head, I love you? And she said, yeah. And I said, that's to show you she can hear you, even when you're just thinking. She's never, ever left. And in other situations, I was out, I was out with a group of friends, and somebody was just asking me about what was going on, how I do what I do. And their family member came forward, and I'm in a social setting at night, we're enjoying dinner and drinks, and And they were pretty persistent, but I just kind of let it go because I thought, now's not the time. And that poor family member wouldn't stop until he could reach that person. So I had to do, which I never do, call them up and go, can I please meet with you? Because they're not going to stop. Our loved ones on the other side, and when I say on the other side, who've crossed over, they're so sometimes, always, so desperate to try to remain relevant in our lives that we just have no idea. So they try to show us any way they can, whether through the fragrance of roses or a fragrance of flowers, or you get a sparkling out of the corner of your eye, or you see butterflies. There's always some music, like when a music, like a song comes on and you go, oh, wait, this reminds me of so-and-so. That's intentional. That's their only way of getting a hold of us, because they can't hold us and touch us and say, I love you. And that is sometimes some of the barriers when people come forward, they say, well, you get the arms folded. Well, they're not here. Yes, they are. You just got to take a look around and pay attention. And most importantly, those beautiful thoughts that pop into your head, that's not your ego. That's them talking to you and telling you, you're amazing. You're doing a great job. Keep moving forward. These positive, impactful statements that come in out of nowhere. It's your guides. It's your loved ones trying to tell you, great job, keep going. And especially with women, we have a tendency to go, oh, we think we're all that, that's just me thinking I'm just, hot stuff today. No. They're trying to tell you, you got this. We're here with you.
Yeah. I love that. That's beautiful, Cheryl. So I know there's a lot of people out there right now thinking, how the heck can I get in contact with Cheryl? Can she do a session with me? I have a loved one that can't let go of, or I just would love to have a session with her to learn more about myself and learn more about those people that could be in my life that are trying to reach me that I don't know are trying to reach me. So Cheryl, how would someone reach out to you today? And again, we'll put this contact information in the descriptions on Facebook. As you're listening on the podcast, we will have it at your fingertips for you to click on her links. But if you don't mind sharing with our guests how they can reach you.
Absolutely. I have a website. It's called spiritvisionstudio.life, Life. You can reach me through there. But also, if you wanted to contact me directly, you could contact me via email. It's just all one word, my name, lowercase, Cheryl Rausch @me.com. And feel free to contact me with any questions. And for more information about what I do and what services I provide, you can find it at my website.
So I will definitely be reaching out to you for another session. And so what's next for you, Cheryl? Are you going to be working with, or do you work with local enforcement? Do you help in those areas, or what's next for you?
My next goal, I'd be working with folks who are dealing with spirit that have not crossed. And that's a completely different aspect of people who are stuck here.
Yeah.
I'm reaching out to people right now about because I think that's what so instills a lot of fear in us. When I say spirit is with you, people automatically think, oh my God, a ghost on me. No. I'm talking to people on the other side. It's different. Right. But for those who are still here, are being a nuisance or some nothing negative, that's what I'd like to work with next.
That's great. Well, congratulations.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, congratulations on your success. Congratulations on coming forward, and congratulations to the spirits that kept pushing you and never gave up so you could bring your genius forward, because the lives that you're guiding and the changes you're making in people's lives is just such an impact, and it's just infinite. I don't even know if you realize what an impact you make on people's lives. And again, I know that you are the conduit for that, but I couldn't be the conduit for that. You needed to be the conduit for that. So each one of us have our purpose. And thank you so much for realizing yours and then not being afraid to step in the spotlight to share that, because we honor
Thank,
you and we respect your voice. So thank you so much
thank you
for
so much.
being with us, Cheryl. All right, you guys, I'm excited to introduce our next guest, Mitzi Perdue. Right when I found out about Mitzi, I was like, we have got to have her on our podcast, because she is the founder of Win This Fight, Stop Human Trafficking Now. She holds a BA degree from honors from Harvard University and a master's from George Washington University. She's a past president of over 40,000 member American Agri Women, and she has a U.S. delegate to the United Nations Conference on Women. That is just amazing, amazing, and that was in Nairobi. So she's a columnist. She's the founder and president of Win This Fight. Like I said, Stop Human Trafficking Now. So Mitzi, I am honored to have you here, and am honored that I'm learning of you in this fight. I just respect you so much.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here. And I was so interested in every word that Cheryl said. And I actually memorized something that you said in response to Cheryl, which is you said that you're praying now more than ever before. And boy, I relate to that. I'm so much more aware of the spiritual side. It's not just your brain, it's your heart and whatever else you're opening up to.
Yeah, it's so true. And since I think in 2020, there's been a big spotlight on human trafficking. I don't want to say that it has exploded in 2020. All of a sudden now there's human trafficking. I believe that there's been this for decades. It's the spotlight was put on it in 2020, where the awareness was there a little bit more than normal, or it just crossed my path and I became aware of it more than I ever have in the past. Attended some events that were local here for sex trafficking with children, and several other events that I support, organizations that I support. So I am just in awe of what you're doing, Mitzi. So if you don't mind rewinding and just stepping back a little bit and telling us, when did this, why did you feel that you needed to build this? You're the founder of this. So what happened in your world that you went from going to school at Harvard University or whatever it was that you were doing then to starting this organization?
Okay, well, actually, everything began at 2 o'clock on, let's see, it was April 11th of 2019. And I heard a lecture that just absolutely changed my life. And what changed my life is, I think I was like maybe a lot of women who are listening to us right now, the word human trafficking just didn't mean that much to me. But I saw images, videos even, of little girls who had been forced to have sex with strangers 10, 20 times a night, 365 days a year. And, I saw their faces, kind of frozen in fear, terror, misery, depression. And I thought, good Lord, this has got to be one of the most evil things on the face of the earth. And since I couldn't unsee what I'd seen, I decided I wanted to dedicate the rest of my life to doing whatever I could to combat this. Because, I bet a lot of people who are listening to us are either have personally experienced or are close to somebody who's been raped. And one rape can change a person's life. But what if you're 10 years old and you're being raped 15 times a night? Just the misery of it's beyond imagination. So here I am doing whatever I can to combat human trafficking.
I applaud you for that, because I've seen some of those videos, and that's why I donate, participate, I'm part of. But I didn't, go out and start a foundation just for, and dedicating my life to it. So I applaud you for that and honor you for that. I even have a client that I work with that she shared her story that at the age of 19, for 4 years, she was taken and put into a sex trafficking ring, and she made it out and is a mother today with 2 children and lives a somewhat normal life. And it's just hard to believe how anyone can recover from that evil. It is, to me, the most evil on earth. And so tell me, what is this foundation, the Win the Fight to Stop Human Trafficking? Tell me, what is your foundation? Are you doing local events? Do you do online events? Talk to me a little bit about this foundation that you created and how your plan is, in now moving forward to
Okay,
end this.
when I heard this lecture, it occurred to me that I don't have any of the skills that most of the people in the human trafficking, who are combating it. I wouldn't know how to rescue somebody. I would be terrible at helping somebody be rehabilitated. I don't have the skill or the background. So I started thinking, what do all organizations need? And this is my view of it, but pretty much every anti-trafficking organization can use more money.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much every anti-trafficking organization could use more volunteers. Well, my background for how about my entire life has been in fundraising and communications. For a good bit of my life, I wrote an environmental column for Scripps Howard, went to 420 newspapers, and I had the huge good luck to be the most widely syndicated environmental columnist. So I thought, what if I used my communications background and my fundraising background to help other organizations? And I had the fabulous experience around, at the holidays of at the end of 2020, of sending out checks to almost 40 different anti-trafficking organizations for money that I was able to raise. And as for getting attention for anti-human trafficking, I write a blog, and I would absolutely love it if everybody listening to us in a little bit, I mean, when you're kind enough to ask me, because you told me you would, how to get hold of me, I'll share how to text WTF to 51555. And that will enable you to sign up for my blog. But here's why you might want to sign up for my blog. It will give some of the most current inside information that other organizations are doing to combat human trafficking. You'll also have a chance, if you choose, and I'd love it if you would, because you can make a difference, to volunteer. And anybody who volunteers for this effort, I make a promise to every single person, which is I won't ask for a penny or a minute of your money or your time that you don't want to give. Because the typical person who starts working on this, it's the darkest subject in the world. But knowing the amount of good that you can do, how you can change people's lives, oh golly, sort of like Cheryl does, but that you can really change people's lives. The good feeling that you got out of that, I think it's almost guaranteed for you to have the feeling, I want more.
I love that. I love that. And what came to my mind was we are going to be donating to charities this year. And bringing that into our organization. We did that last year, but this year we're going to be running membership drives and donating proceeds of that membership drive to a charity. And I would love to be able to donate when we start in February the proceeds from what our membership drive brings to win this fight now. Stop human trafficking.
I would love that. And there's a project that we have right now. Do you remember Rosie the Riveter from 75 years ago? But for those who are young enough not to be familiar with it, Rosie the Riveter, she was a housewife, but she left her home and went into factories and inspired millions of other women to do the same. And she began playing a huge role that helped us win against Nazism. Mm-hmm. Fantastic role that women play. One of the volunteers for Win This Fight, and I'm lifting up now and putting on my head a bandana of the sort that Rosie wore.
Yeah.
And all right, this is something that one of our volunteers, Margot Deusterhaus, came up with. She said, why don't we have a 2021 version of Rosie the Riveter, except it's going to be Rosie the Liberator. Or if it's a guy, it will be Rusty the Liberator. But what we've started, and it's just amazing how it's taking over, but we're asking people, and I'm going to ask both of you, to take a selfie in which, and you don't have to wear a bandana, the only part that really counts is that you look kind of sideways and you make a muscle. and photograph that, and then post it on social media, invite 2 other people to do the same, and then give $5 to the anti-trafficking organization of your choice.
Mhm.
And then what's really cool is then send it to me, and you can do it through the text WTF to 51555. You can, now that's one way of posting it, or you can go to winthisfight.org, and here's what you get. People have been putting up the most amazing images, and they're kind of just fun to watch. Like one person had her dog in a bandana. Let's see. Other people are it just blows my mind. But I mean, maybe the people who are doing this are actors or something, but they just capture in a way that I can hardly believe, you know, the exact pose, I mean, it's just fun to watch. And then you can get to vote on which you think is the funniest or the most appropriate. And I welcome, or rather we welcome, it doesn't have to be, you know, a photograph. It could also be a drawing. I'd love to get all sorts of people who are artists to contribute to this. And the purpose behind it, you know, it's partly fundraising, and we've raised thousands and thousands of dollars so far for other organizations, because we invite you to, you know, to send $5 to other organizations. It's also awareness raising, and it lets people think, you know, what can I do? Because one of the questions I get more often than anything else is, you know, I hate human trafficking, but I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. This is a foot in the door where you can have fun and at the same time help contribute to awareness. So I'd love you to do it.
That's a lot of fun. Yes, I am going to do it. And I can go live in my Facebook group tomorrow and can talk about it. And I'll learn a little bit more about it. Mitzi, if you can share a little bit more about it, so I make sure I can wear a bandana and invite everyone. I don't know what hashtags we need to use, but if there's
Oh yes, let me tell you the hashtag to use.
Yeah.
Hashtag win this fight.
I love it.
And you know, there's a somewhat funny story about how we got the name Win This Fight, because initially, before COVID took over, I'll take this hat off, bandana off, before COVID interrupted, the plan for fundraising was 2 auctions, the biggest of which was, I hardly dare say what it is, but here goes. There would be a giant attention-getting auction where you couldn't participate unless you had an item worth $1 million or more. And I said 2 auctions. There's one, the high value one, and the other was the auction for the rest of us. But the high value one, when you ask ultra wealthy people for items that they would auction, there would be one auction, and it'll probably be a couple of years from now. But here's some of the items that have been contributed so far. Like one of them, I'll start with the biggest. A man in Taipei gave me a 69.7 carat perfect ruby. And in case you don't know what a 69.7 carat ruby looks like, I'm holding up in the screen right now a 5 carat ruby. I mean, can you even imagine? But this man hates human trafficking, and the auction was a way of converting tangible property into cash with no commission, because the auction house is not going to charge a commission for this. But other gifts that have come in, there's a man who owns a necklace that belonged to Marlene Dietrich. It's diamonds and sapphires, and you can see her wearing this in pictures. And you know, that's appraised at $1 million. But there's I'm talking with people, like there's a guy in Argentina who has a yacht, and he's elderly, and he can't sell it for any kind of worthwhile price in Argentina right now because of the monetary situation. So it looks as if he's going to donate a yacht. And there's even an 87-year-old man who has been in the hotel business forever. He doesn't have any heirs, and he's thinking of putting up a hotel for the auction. So yeah, when it happens, it should raise $100 million. But now back to the name. The name of my organization was going to be the Anti-Trafficking Auction, the Global Anti-Trafficking Auction. But a couple of weeks into it, one of the volunteers called me up and said, Mitzi, that name just absolutely sucks. And I'm thinking, what? But in the end, I'm as grateful as can be that he told me, and that he didn't, I don't know, make it diplomatic, because he said, here's what's wrong with it. Nobody can remember it. It doesn't roll off the tongue, and there's no call to action. And then he told me, I spent several hours, actually half a day, on this website called register.com, where you can find out if a name is taken, and if it's not, you can grab it. He said, win this fight is a call to action. It's memorable, and it has one of the best marketing aspects that a name could have, which is the initials of it are WTF. And I think most people know that your association with WTF is what it is. But he said, he said that's memorable. First of all, it's totally appropriate for fighting human trafficking. I mean, WTF. And then he said the other part that really works for me as the person who's saying it is, I'm a 79-year-old great-grandmother, and I think I come across somewhat ladylike. And he said, when you say WTF, there's enough wrongness in it that it tends to be memorable. And so that's how the name Win This Fight came about.
I love that. I love that. And what a brilliant way for someone to get your organization positioned in the market, because people hashtag WTF all the time. So hashtag.
Okay, although hashtag WTF won't, we really want people to write out Win This Fight.
Right, Win This Fight. Yeah.
But on the other hand, to text WTF to 51555.
Okay.
Did I get around to mentioning the guy who told me what was wrong with the name? He's a neuroscientist, and his professional specialty is neuromarketing. He knows what it takes to have a name work. And I'm going to bet that it's not that hard for you to remember Win This Fight.
No, it's not. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. So, all right, now comes the time for how people can reach you. So we talked about winthisfight.org. You talked about the WTF, and that was 51555.
Exactly.
Is that right? So they can text to WTF 51555. And what would they text to that?
Well, in the part of your cell phone, I mean, if you've got you do have a message part where it says 2. That's where you put 51555.
Got it.
And then down below, it will say there's a place for you to write the message. And all you have to do is just WTF, and it will take you to my website. And from there, there's a section called Contact. And I've made a pledge. Good Lord, I have a whole lot of emails because of this. I've made a pledge that I will answer every email.
It's wonderful.
And I'm particularly looking for volunteers, because the amount of jobs to be done is about close to infinite, and people keep coming up with brilliant jobs, which means we need more volunteers. Let me tell you a quick one. If anybody has any connection with, say, I don't know, art museums or art centers, I would love to encourage art centers or artists in general to make sketches, and they could be humorous, they could be modern, they could be representational, but of Rosie.
Yeah, I love that, Rosie the Riveter. And it'd be really great for us to be able to, as many of us that we can, go put that information out there and take a photo of yourself in that position and use the hashtag Win This Fight. And I just love that. Thank you so much, Mitzi, for all that you do to lead the charge to win the fight against human trafficking. We all want to have a part in this. We love to serve. It makes us feel great. And here's a great opportunity, ladies, for you to be able to serve and be able to step up and help Mitzi and all of us that want to be part of this to win the fight and stop human trafficking. So thank you.
It kind of goes back to something that Cheryl said. We all want to contribute, and the spiritual benefits of fighting evil, I think, are beyond imagination. I predict that anybody who joins this fight is going to feel really good about what they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Mitzi, for being a guest on our show. It's just such an honor to have you here and learn more about you. So thank you so much. All right, ladies, we are done for today. That is all the time that we have. I want to remind you that our next episode, we are interviewing Rebecca Zung. She is the top 1% attorneys in the nation. I love interviewing women that are in that power and can share with us how she got there, the hurdles that she endured, but obviously in the end won that fight as well for her to be in the position she's in. And so we're going to learn a lot about from her next week. And before we leave, I just want to remind all of you that you are the only you that has ever been. You are the only you that will ever be. Let that sink in for a moment. So how you pioneer your future, how you show up in this world is up to you. And I want you to remember that we are here to support you at Lead Up for Women. We are here to support you as a community. So we hope that you will find a community that is right for you this year in 2021, because this is the year of the woman. And we are going to be standing up very strong this year in our efforts to help people find peace, as Cheryl does, in our efforts for people to stop human trafficking, as Mitzi does, and again, for bringing community together to support women to have an infinite amount of abundance, success, and love that they deserve. So thank you, ladies, for joining us, and we hope you have a wonderful week. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Be you and be strong.